This type here, I think, is what it says. Yeah. So it's mounted with these rubber clamps, and you can just see that it's secure there.
Got you. All cool pipes, no leak.
So if you look through to the
So do people tend to travel around at the same sort of altitudes around here, sort of 1,000 feet?
1,000 is very, very common for transiting. It's a
it's
nice height to do,
yeah,
to be able to
pretty much anything.
pick some locations to land.
Oh, 1,000 feet. Overshot.
Yeah, so like for instance, from here we could get to that field over there, we could get to that field, that field, that field, that field. We have lots of options. If we were down at 500 feet, cut them in half.
I think, you know, with other traffic moving around, it's probably the most dangerous height to be up, but
yeah,
like you say, it's a really good one.
The good news is that fixed wing tend to be higher.
Yeah.
For the most part, they're 2,000 to 3,000 feet, or they're doing forced approaches into the field, and then they're lower. So it's more than likely it's going to be helicopters at this altitude, and we're pretty good about knowing and communicating with what we're doing. But having said that, we don't ever take it for granted. We've come across plenty of Cessnas at our same altitude.
So the other one the other day, or the one the other day, I should say.
Yeah. No, it's have to be 100% looking out.
The Clayburn Tower's in front.
That's correct.
About 1 mile. About a mile in front of that. Then got the Fraser River.
Good to you. Been studying.
Chilliwack Mountain's not this one, but the next one along, I think.
That's correct.
And sort of opposite the river is Strawberry Island. It's quite distinctive, orangey, reddish ground. It's a bit of a river.
That's just around the corner here.
Oh, got some birds below in the 1 o'clock.
North side of Sumas Mountain. Hard to say. Right now, there's definitely clouds tucked all the way up inside there, and there's some clouds over there. We may not get too far up the river. We'll see. We may end up going up past Hatfield Lake instead. You can definitely tell there's that temperature dew point very close to each other. Just all over the place. Moisture that's being extracted from the air.
I was trying to explain it to Finn yesterday in the classroom. I think he was going through the weather briefing online and trying to remember how a dew point works and how it's affected by temperature and pressure and all this.
Yeah.
Quite a complicated little thing, really.
It is. Weather is not straightforward, that's for sure.
Echo Tango India, surveillance terminated, cleared en route.
Echo Tango India.
India Sierra Golf Tower, from there, cleared direct to Mount Lehman interchange.
I can't remember the frequency. They're on it's 126. I want to say 7.
That is a frequency. That's an en route frequency. 122.77.
12277 course. Bloody hell. Eyes in.
Eyes out.
Set. Roger.
A little rainbow there.
Visual.
It looks like the lower level is good visibility.
I'll put out a radio call, I suppose.
Yeah. Sumas Mountain.
What was that, sorry?
This is Sumas Mountain.
Sumas.
Neighboring towers.
Fraser River traffic. This is Golf Echo Tango India. Currently north of Claiborne Towers, heading east along Fraser River. At 1,000 feet.
Yeah. Perfect. Clear left. Clear right.
Ahead. Clear to the right.
Good. So it's going to be a bit tricky to go up too high, but we'll play kind of between 500 feet and maybe 1,500 feet or so. All right, so today's exercise we discussed in the classroom, we briefed on it already, but it's going to be climbs and descents. So we use this obviously when we're trying to climb up to maybe go over a mountain, or maybe the terrain is climbing, or maybe we're just departing from a spot. And so we talked about in the classroom, what's the order of controls we're going to use to initiate a climb?
Attitude, power, trim.
All right, and what affects our attitude? Which control?
That's cyclic.
All right. So if we were going to initiate a climb right now, what would we do with the cyclic?
So that comes back towards me to pitch the aircraft up. That will initiate a climb initially.
Okay, and then we don't want to slow down, so what are we going to do in combination with that?
That's when the collective is also pulled up, which increases blade on the pitch on the blades to continue the climb.
That's right. And then as we raise collective, what do we have to do with the pedals?
So we then have to counter the torque effect. So I'm going to be pressing right pedal as I bring the power in.
All right, so let's see that in action. We're at 1,000 feet. So I want you to initiate a climb to 1,500 feet.
1,500, so we're clear. Left in front, to the right and above.
And we'll see if the clouds allow for it, but there's the pitch up. Power is going to come up with the collective. And then trim, a little bit of right pedal. Excellent. So now we're going to maintain this. You can maintain 50 knots if you want in the climb. That's going to be our best climb rate. At 80% power, coming up through 1,200 feet. And it looks like we might be able to make 1,500 with the clouds. Always want to remain clear of clouds, especially temperature 3 degrees. So then usually about 50 feet before we arrive at our destination, we want to start leveling out with that pitch, increasing that power, which we've already done to cruise setting, and then trim as necessary. And there we are, level 1,500. Beautiful, well done. All right, so what's the order of events that we want to use when we're going to descend now?
So it would be power, attitude, trim.
Okay. So we're going to lead with power, which is our collective. So we're going to bring our power down to maybe 50% power. As we do that, the nose is going to want to drop, so we'll a bit of aft cyclic just to keep us level. And then as you've already done, you've compensated with your pedals. Beautiful.
That's just wanting to decelerate, so I'm just going to bring the collective down a bit more.
Yeah, so we want to keep our speed up. We don't want to slow down in the descent because we're not intending to land.
Yeah.
We're in cruise flight, so let's get our cyclic a little bit forward. Our speed closer to 70 knots for our descent, and that will just aid in the speed of the descent a bit.
Down to 1,000 feet.
Yeah, let's go all the way down to 500 feet.
500, roger.
And as we do that, why don't we make a radio call here? We're approaching the east end of Sumas Mountain over the Fraser River.
Okay.
Echo Tango India approaching eastern edge of Sumas Mountain north of Fraser River.
Right, boss.
Echo Tango India at 800 feet descending to 500.
Fraser River traffic flight to 300 Golf Alpha Juliet. Charlie just working the 6 soundbar between Chilliwack and Sumas Mountain, 500 below.
Cool.
Hey Greg, are you in the north side or south side?
Yeah, we're just on the north side of it right now.
After that, looking for you. We're just coming up on the sandbar now, 500 feet, and we're going to start climbing again.
Okay, I'm down to 4 right now, so.
I got your visual. We're just, looks like you're coming up on your 2 o'clock now.
Hey, roger, looking.
So he's over there, so let's stay on the north shoreline here.
Now visual.
All right, let's initiate a climb here. So attitude.
Left, right, correction. Front, right. Visual with the traffic in the 1 o'clock. There above.
Good, so speed around 50, power in the 80s, good. And we'll just climb to 1,000.
Roger. They're just making an approach to the sandbar now. It's 3 o'clock.
Ah, yes.
Looked like they were anyway.
Good. Attitude level. Power's already set, and trim is good. So there's, well, two main types of, or main reasons why you would want to descend, and two, it's kind of, there's an operational descent and there's a practical descent, or a kind of a textbook descent. So, what two reasons would we want to descend that you can think of?
I suppose we fly in VFR quite a lot, so to avoid cloud, primarily I suppose for us. You may well have an emergency and you want to just get down safely whilst you can, before anything major happens. Air traffic control may require you to reduce your altitude for some reason. It may just be better visibility, which you're after. Or you're making an approach.
That's very,
of course.
The most obvious one.
Yeah.
Is,
I'll leave that till last.
Coming in for landing. So, and you kind of nailed a lot of the reasons. And the second one, kind of the main reason, or second reason is for landing. So, any kind of reason to descend where we're not intending to land, whether it's, you know, we just came off the top of a mountain and we're heading back after a tour, heli skiing, or maybe just bringing people from a scenic tour. We're up at 5,000 feet and we have 15 miles to go to get back to base, and we have to end up down at 1,000 feet for our arrival. To, like you said, avoiding clouds, all those kind of things are good reasons to descend. And then kind of the second more distinct reason, that's a bit different, is come in for landing.
Yeah.
And so it's important to understand, especially operationally, the distinguishing factors between those two. So if we're just descending for the sake of getting to a lower elevation, but we're continuing flight after that, then what we can keep in mind is that we don't necessarily need to slow down in our descent. So if we're cruising, let's say we're cruising right now at 65 knots, and we had to get lower to avoid clouds, we wouldn't necessarily have to lower collective to descend. We could actually just push forward on the cyclic. We have a lot of speed we can use before we get anywhere near VNE, and you know, especially with paying customers, they'd be happy if we went a little faster on the descent, right?
Get to see more.
Exactly. So, operationally speaking, you know, if we're doing tours and stuff, we don't necessarily always descend with collective, because that means we're going to either slow down or stay at the same speed as we descend. However, you know, for the foreseeable future, a lot of the reasons we'll be descending is, hey, we want to go land on that sandbar over there. So in that case, it's very important that we descend by leading with power, get that power down to initiate a descent, and then cyclic as we need to adjust our speed on the way down. And that's why this exercise is important to understand, that for the practical purposes of the next, you know, foreseeable future, a lot of the reasons you're landing is for, or you're descending is for landing.
1,800 descending to 1,000, and we'll be doing some work at 1,000 feet over the Sumas Prairie.
I'm just following the northern edge of the river, just so we're not hogging too much airspace over the top.
Perfect. Yeah, so we have Chilliwack off to our right there, and the kind of the airspace follows more or less the shore of the river. So it's important to not deviate too far into the south side of the river there. So what I'd like to do is, there's that nice big sandbar just off in front of us there. I want to plan to do a straight in auto rotation to that sandbar. Okay, it's not going to be a surprise. We're going to plan it and talk it through. So looking at our split here, if we go turn the GPS on here, we'll see that our ground speed and our airspeed is completely matched.
Yep.
And looking at the water, it's totally glassy, so we expect it will be no wind down there. So we're going to enter, instead of rolling off throttle, we'll enter with lower and collective, a little bit of aft cyclic, and some left pedal.
Roger.
All right, so why don't you, we'll count it down. Why don't you enter in 3, 2, 1, nice and smoothly, all the way down. Not too much nose up because we don't want to slow down. We want to actually maintain our speed that we are at. Okay, so let's recover for a second here. So let's do this one together.
Yep.
When we enter 3, 2, 1, we want to lower collective and just maintain our attitude.
Almost level.
Level.
By the looks of it, yeah.
Exactly.
Fine. Look at the horizon if you look at
And then we can glance at our speed and say, we're actually a bit slow right now. So let's get our speed up. We want to end up at about 50, 55 knots. That's looking quite nice there. Target's looking good. Start a nice gentle flare. Build that flare nicely. Lots of right pedal and that nose really straight with a bit of forward right cyclic there at the end.
Yeah.
It's going to want to drift to the left with all that pedal we're putting in. We have to add some right cyclic to keep it on a straight course and lots of right pedal as we're coming in. Do you have controls?
I have control.
All right.
So I feel I was pushing
nice
pushing
eagle
the cyclic forward there.
What's that?
I was pushing the cyclic forward there when we got to the bottom. I think I just used to leveling off a bit sooner.
I see.
Yeah, my apologies there.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so you can land for 1 second here.
Traffic, 172, Foxtrot, Quebec Yankee, 2,400 feet, just over Arnold, heading northeast bound for PRO for some upper at 2,500 feet.
Cushion is on.
Sure. Does that make sense on the entry?
Yeah, just exaggerating that pitch back far too much. Yeah. Like you say, nose is right up, so I suppose it's just keeping the blades level to allow it to then start to maintain the speed.
Exactly.
That's what it looked like anyway.
Yeah. So what I recommend on the entry is, at least for the entry part, enter with whatever cyclic you need to maintain level attitude.
Yeah.
Once we've entered, then we're going to start our scan, and then we get a sense of our speed. If we've entered at 80 knots, yes, we do want to start slowing it down gently. But if we enter at 55 knots, we're already at the speed we want to be at. We may as well not slow down and try and speed up again. Because the more changes of speed we do, the harder it is to gauge where our target is going to be, right? If we can maintain a consistent speed, consistent rotor RPM, then all the way down we have a target in mind. We can really dial it in and make changes as necessary to make that happen. So obviously with a planned entry like this, we could set our speed wherever we want for the entry. You know, typically we're around cruise speed, and then on the entry we have a little bit of room to slow down. But if it's a forced approach, you know, if you're slowed down because of clouds and you're maneuvering, it's a forced approach, you might already be down at 40 knots in the process, and then we don't want to just assume we have to still go nose up.
Of course.
So it's only enough aft cycling to maintain level flight is the goal. And we're departing the west.
Fraser Mills. Jesus. Fraser River.
Traffic, this is RV-10 Golf Romeo India Oscar.
Good. So let's do a takeoff together here, and I want to just talk for a moment or show you that profile we were talking about.
Yep.
West of the airport.
So here we have here we have no obstacles in front of us, so we don't, like at base these helicopters we have to climb a bit first, but here we have a nice clean departure, and so we would, as always, we add a little bit of power to start with just to initiate a bit of a climb, but then from here we want to stay fairly level and just work on building that airspeed. We're nice and safe height above the ground, but we're not climbing yet. Now, right as we speed 50 knots, just the tiniest bit nose up, and it just naturally starts climbing without any effort, any additional power. Climbs nice and efficiently.
Nice.
And anywhere in this period, obviously we're over water now, but any time in this departure, if we had an engine failure, we have the speed
Yeah.
to enter, so that, you know, even though we're only at 250 feet here, if we all of a sudden had an engine failure, you can already see our airspeed is correct.
Yep.
We're just descending, waiting for the flare, initiating that flare.
Sumas traffic, system 172, Foxtrot, Charlie, Quebec.
And everything's good.
700.
So we're outside of that height velocity diagram in a safe range.
Yeah.
Right, so let's go ahead and we'll make a position call here. We're following Highway 1 over number 3 road into Abbotsford at 1,000 feet.
Roger.
So it's Sumas, this is a Sumas practice area, traffic,
Highway 1,
number 3 road.
number 3 road, westbound for Abbotsford.
Yep.
Sumas traffic, Cabri G2 Golf Echo Tango India, following Highway 1 over
Number 3 road.
number 3 road westbound for Abbotsford, 1,000 feet.
Because I've said that, I'm actually going to go and do that.
A very good plan. All right.
Sumas area traffic. RV 10, Golf Romeo India Oscar is 2,000 feet just over Kent. And we'll be turning north.
Then let's get our ATIS dialed in, 119.8.
28. Eyes in.
Eyes out.
Oh no, backspace 8. Bit of rain.
And switch that over. The greenhouses there is the call-out point.
Visibility 20 miles.
Oh, look at
500 feet.
Oh, visual.
2,500 stars. Ceiling 4,300 broken. Temperature tree. Dew point 2. Altimeter tree 032. Approach ILS. We're on nav runway 07. Landing runway 07 and runway 19. Departing runway 19 and runway 07. Runway surface conditions. Runway 0119.
I want to keep it at 900. Just to give us a bit of separation.
Arriving and transiting aircraft contact tower on 121.0. Inform ATC that you have information echo.
Information
Abbotsford
echo.
information echo. Weather at 170.
210.
All right, so we can call Abbotsford Tower, helicopter Cabri G2, Golf Echo Tango India with information echo.
Roger.
And then the second call will be, we're over the greenhouses, inbound for BC helicopters.
Abbotsford Tower, Cabri G2 Golf Echo Tango India
Oh, information echo.
with information echo.
Echo Tango India, just over the greenhouses, inbound east route for BC helicopters.
Echo Tango India, wind calm, altimeter 3035, cleared inbound via the east route. You may see traffic inbound along the 3 road arrival at Cessna 1,700. I believe they're at your 12 o'clock in a mile.
Yeah, got that traffic inside, Echo Tango India.
Yeah, so good example, especially with Tower.
Yep.
The moment you release that button, they're going to start talking.
Yeah.
So if you miss something, don't go back for the button
Yeah.
because you'll cut them off for sure.
South,
Chances are, as soon as you hit that button, they know you're coming already. They
Yeah.
can see you coming on radar, expect you. So if you miss something, it's not the end of the world.
Charlie Quebec Yankee Tower, Charlie Hotel Uniform Tower, cleared to the control zone south eastbound for Wacom, 2,500 approved.
So we need some wiper blades. That would be good.
Do you guys have those in the 135?
Yes.
Do
But
you
you
ever
can only
use-
use
do you
them
ever
for a
use them?
certain height. Yeah, well, sorry, certain speed. And I think we used to sort of cruise around at maybe 90 knots. And so when you can only use them under like 55, you couldn't even use them in a climb.
No.
Just useless.
In the hover is the only time.
Yeah,
really.
exactly. And by that point you're maxed out, so you can't think to go press a button, you know.
Yeah.
Might have even been on the centre console.
It's one of those things. The A-Stars have them as well.
Charlie Hotel
but
Uniform
most
Tower, I was just advised by Victoria Terminal you were
most
supposed to go to them
operators-
at 132.7. I have no traffic for you, so you can contact Victoria Terminal 132.7.
Most operators will just take them right off.
Yeah.
Because the reality is it's going to scratch your window up.
Yeah.
With the plexi windows, it's
suppose this is quite easy to find your way back.
Contact
What's
inner
that?
tower 119.
Quite easy to find your way back on the eastern route. Just follow that. Follow that way.
Very easy. As long as you recognize the greenhouses,
yeah,
and don't enter past those greenhouses without having initiated a conversation, then no issues. It's often a nice route to take, especially if visibility is a bit lower.
Yeah.
Because you have a really good reference.
Yeah.
There's no high obstacles on the way in.
What's going on over there? 11 o'clock, 2 miles. Plume.
Yeah, it's a factory of some sort. States. It's actually turning into a beautiful day.
It really is. So, from a different perspective, airfield,
Dead ahead.
3 miles in the 12 o'clock.
Yep.
Follow this road. I think we've got the turning point junction there.
That's right.
12:30. 3/4 of a mile.
So as we approach, basically once we pass this, you'll see a highway goes north-south here.
Yeah.
That's kind of the landmark. After that, we can descend for 700 feet. So that by the time we reach McCallum interchange, we're at 700.
Yeah. I take it that's why it's called the McCallum route.
Yep.
Roger.
Because that's the turning point
yeah,
on the route,
yeah.
is the McCallum interchange.
That makes a lot of sense. So that was pretty sweet. Not perfect, but pretty good. Pretty good. Right, collective friction is on.